Alright, hi Unite. Just recording this video because quite a few of you were absent in today's lesson, and this is what I would have did go through in the lesson. So we're working on a Hockney task. You've gone and done the planning task, which some of you do need to finish off. So it looks like it is in Google Docs and it is on Classroom for you to access. So please finish off that. But we're going to be working on this task that we can find down here on slide 48 as I've written on Classroom. Now it is a joiner portrait in the style of David Hockney. We've looked at his works. His works are above in the above slide. I learned a few things as I went out and did the task myself. So it is a face or a figure in a built or natural environment. We're capturing an emotion which you planned for. Now I'd like you to include 20 photographs as part of your composition. Okay, I'd like you to take at least 36 when you're out there and you're taking the picture. You can see here on the right we've got a grid. Okay, so we've got to imagine that we're trying to catch a whole image that we can see here with a lady standing within a rock landscape, but we are doing it in a small number of photos. So we've got 36 photos along here. We've got a grid of 6 by 6. And when you take the photos, you'll be taking the photo number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and so on, row by row. Okay. Now, when you move the camera, you won't be moving yourself, but you'll be moving your body and moving your arms as if you are panning across. You're going to do your best to try and meet up the number 2 with number 1, but of course it's not going to be perfect, and that's what the beauty is of these compositions. You want it to match up, but not perfectly, to get this fragmented composition. Okay, so you're imagining you're taking a whole scene, but doing it with a number of smaller images that get put together. You're doing it by Photoshop or by hand, okay, and you are choosing one of these methods. So this is the most straightforward approach, where you stand still. You can even see the feet in this image, and you take your photo by photo in order to piece the whole composition together. You'd probably be using, as I did, a zoom in on your camera, so that you can then capture the scene in smaller pieces. This one here uses a different grid. You might capture this one maybe more so by a 4 by 9, if not more, grid, so 4 across and 9 down. Okay, so it would be a longer grid. So you can choose that based on what you're trying to achieve. A few other tips down here: stay in one spot. Take the photographs that overlap each other up, down, and left to right. Shoot the entire scene in one session. Doesn't take long. It takes a minute or two, but you might need to go back and take that again. Now each shot should overlap the next. That way we get that little lovely sort of fragmented, disjunct composition. A few other things in here: don't change the location of the camera zoom too much. Remember, we can zoom in and out, we can tilt, but those things can also be done in Photoshop. A reminder, there's another grid, a reminder of the 4 tutorials down here. Now there's one that focuses on the face but uses different angles so the subject moves. So this is a bit more of a challenging one. More straightforward, you'll find tutorials 2, 3, and 4, and very similar to what I'm going to demo now. So I'm going to jump over to Photoshop. Right, this is one that I put together of something I took the other day. I do see a mistake in here, and I would go and reshoot this. I didn't space out the photos enough. My photos were too similar to each other, and I didn't sort of make sure that they were spaced out from left to right and top to bottom, but we can still work with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up an A4 page. So we're going to go to File, New. Now we're going to print this out, so we're going to click on Print. I want mine to be landscape. You might choose portrait based on what sort of grid you're using, and 300 resolution is what it should be preset to. So we're going to open it up. Now we're going to insert a number of photos into Photoshop. If we go to 1, normally we could just go to Place Embedded, but my Photoshop won't let me insert more than 1 file. Maybe yours do, but I'll show you how to do it otherwise. Right, my Photoshop's been a bit funny not letting me open the window. Okay, so here's my photos that I've uploaded from my phone. Now I've gone through and named them in order because that's much easier for us to work with. My phone labels it as some big weird number for each of them. So go through and change them and make sure they're in order. Now you click the first and you click the last or vice versa. If you click and hold and drag across, it's going to let me drop this onto the canvas. Okay, I'll just make my Photoshop bigger. In order to place them, we need to press enter. Now, unfortunately, you're going to have to do this however many photos that you have in your composition. So enter, or you press the tick up the top. Okay, you can see them inserting here. Here's one I prepared earlier for this. You can see they're all inserted, ready to be used. Now, there is a little symbol meaning that this is a non-rasterized layer, which means it's still just an image file. We want to tell Photoshop we want it to be a file that it can work with, so we need to rasterize these layers. To select all the layers, similarly, we press the first one, scroll down, hold down Shift, and press the last one. If I right-click, it says rasterize layers. Great, now you can see that little icon disappeared. They're ready to be worked with. Now, we want to change the size, obviously. So to do that, we do the same thing. We click the first and we hold down Shift and we click the last. That way they're all selected, and if I press Control T, which is transform, and I hold down the corners, it's going to allow me to resize all of them. So I'm just going to put them to a size that I know at the moment is manageable. Probably a bit smaller because I know I've got 20 images. When I'm ready, I'm going to press enter. Okay, lovely. They're in there. They're named, numbered, so I know what's where and what sort of order we're looking at. Mine, strangely enough, I should have reversed the order, go from 20 backwards, but that's fine. I know what I need to work with. From here, I'm going to click off. Now, what Photoshop will do is select the image that I click on. So what I'm going to do, I might just pull that down so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to just put them out in the order that I took them. Now you can see I didn't move my camera enough because we've got a little bit too much repetition in the images. But I'm just going to put them out in my grid. And remember, you can use a different grid if you want to. You might want to have a more elongated grid like a 4x9. You can have more than 36 photos if you're up for the challenge. But I know when I took mine, I did 4x5, so I've got 20 images. Okay, so put them out in order. Obviously, we're going to do a lot of reworking and moving around. And now it is a very fiddly process that you just need to sort of experiment with and have a little go with. So what you can see now is I've got my 20 images in, fantastic. Now this is not what you hand in, we need to do some rejigging. Okay, so what I click on is what moves. Another way to do it, if you wanted to select what's underneath, if you right click, it tells you the layers that are underneath, so you can select number 2 if you wanted to from there to move around. Okay, so if you right click, it tells you what layers that you're clicking over. So I'm just gonna, there's a problem here. It does get a little bit annoying and fiddly, like I said. We need to reverse the order. So I'm gonna click and hold and bring that above my number 1. Okay, we can see that sort of matches up there. That's a little bit boring. This task I did find challenging. I said to the other guys that because I like things to be perfect and match up, so you got to be a little bit perfect but not so perfect. I'm going to do a bit of a tilt on this one and see if I can get something interesting happening. You might decide to leave tilting for later on. Now I'm using the arrows on my keyboard to sort of match things up. This one here, let's see what we're doing now. Let's bring this on top. Okay, you can see I've matched up that cloud here, but that top cloud is not matching, and that's a beauty of these. Okay, let's see if I can match these up. Now I might do a little bit of a tilt on this one, Control T, and see if I can get them matching up. Now in one of the videos, don't resize them, try not to resize them. Unless that's something that you're trying to achieve. Now, in one of the videos, it talks about changing the opacity. So have a look at this. If I click on this image here, 3, and I press 5, it actually, so I've got to do the top image, my mistake. If I click on 5, it actually turns 50% opaque or transparent, and that way you can actually go through and line bits up perfectly if you want. Now when I press 0, it goes back to normal. So 5 goes to opaque, and 0 brings back. So let's just keep going. Let's see what else we got over here. That sort of matches there. I might put that on top. Let's see if I can bring that over. Let's see if we can match that up here. Okay, so the point is you want to have the key things matching, and then the other, I guess, the non-features might not match up, but that's okay. Okay, looking good. And that was my 4th image. So let's bring this one up and bring it up here. Okay, that's looking good. Now I'll show you, it does take time, and you will have to go piece by piece and think about what do you want in front, what do you want behind. So this is one that I was working on earlier that I found pieced together. So you can see that I've managed to line up these, the railings here. You can see these electrical wire shadows come up and through here. Okay, so you want some recognition of the image being pieced together, but some sort of fragmented composition as well. So one more thing you may wish to do, and in some of the other videos it does say this, you might find that you've got too much of the image and you want a little part of the image. To just get a section of this image, just say I wanted to insert this section here again, okay, because I see it working. What you do is you get the move tool, you get the rectangular marquee tool, select what you want, then get the move tool, and it should be moving. Okay, if I click and hold and drag it up onto my my composition and I pull down, it then inserts just that part of the image. Okay, and you might find that you want to then insert this because you didn't need the whole image and you only wanted a section of it, or you wanted to create something that was a little bit more fragmented. I didn't mean to make it that small. That one might look good on top. Okay, so have fun with it. Really look at David Hockney's work, see if you can find something that inspires you or you can base it on. One thing I didn't mention, if we jump back over to here, was the negative space. These gaps between here, which is the board behind it, actually are quite interesting as well, to I guess, offset the image where you've got the positive and negative space. The gaps become quite interesting where our mind has to fill in the gaps. So have fun, guys. On Friday I'm going to go over how to add, maybe change the brightness and contrast, adding some drop shadows in order to sort of refine and finish our image. So I hope that